Have you had a Buckeye?
Yes. My wife is from Cleveland.
But the peanut butter chocolate thing?
Yes, I know what it is. Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
As both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day.
Welcome back to Best Hour of Their Day. O2 in the house today. Dave Colina, Fern, you guys know Marcus. And we're excited to have you today. And hold on one second.
Don't slurp into the mic.
Please don't slurp into the mic. Yeah.
That's a tasty beverage.
I have one question. Why do you hate Ohio? Why do you hate Ohio?
I
You
actually
left.
have a tattoo of Ohio on my
Do you
back.
really?
Of the state. I'll have you
Show
know.
it.
Yeah.
Show it to the show. Show it to the show.
Do you see?
Yeah, we do.
See
Yep.
that?
In
See
fact.
Prison. What prison did you get that
That
in?
was Ohio Penitentiary. 2011 to 13 is when I served my time.
You were in a gang? That's a gang-related tattoo?
The Ohio boys. You know?
I heard of the Jersey
Notorious.
boys. The Jersey boys.
It's our own
Similar.
thing in Ohio. The snapping and the singing and the dancing. It's just
Did you guys notice we didn't even make it 30 seconds into the episode for the one thing we said, don't push the
Don't
button?
touch. Yeah, stop it. We told Jay,
There it
don't
is.
touch the remote. He could not touch it.
I was thinking in my head, how can I get to
How
that thing?
how could I not touch it?
I'm pretty sure I'm muted anyway.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
are. Yeah. No, but yeah, happy to have you on. Admittedly, I forgot you lived here.
I
We
know.
were trading emails, and I was like, "Hey, we're not gonna be able to catch up. We're gonna be in Boulder." And you're like,
bro, I live in
dumbass,
Boulder."
I live in Boulder." And I was like, "Oh, well, then we should meet up." Then
Hell
my
yeah.
apologies. So you're here.
here.
Got some cool new stuff to talk about.
got a lot of news to talk about.
But Joe Burrow, Cincinnati.
Dude, that's a big deal.
You're welcome.
That's a huge. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome.
I didn't know that was you. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
doing that
I was
on
just
behalf
like
of Cincinnati.
Yeah, I was like LSU. I was like, we should probably send the Bengals somebody that's we're
know,
talking about some hockey.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
As a Buckeye, I should say you're welcome. I mean,
this
kinda
goes full circle.
around.
This is full circle. This is great.
Have
Yeah.
you had a Buckeye?
Yes. My wife is from Cleveland.
But the peanut butter chocolate thing?
Yes, I know what it is.
Did you ever work a seminar in Orlando? We used to go to Four Rivers,
No, not for
barbecue, and they would have a bakery. The Buckeyes were like this big.
Oh, dude.
So good.
Yes.
So good. So you're from Ohio,
From Ohio.
and now you're living in, you're in Louisville, which for the listeners, it's like right outside of Boulder.
Counts. I say Boulder because nobody knows. People are like, you mean Louisville?
Louisville?
There's only two
Louisville.
cities in Colorado, Denver and Boulder.
Boulder.
That's
Yeah,
it.
pretty much.
If you don't
So we're
live in
actually
those
like right between the two right now. So we're like equidistant from Denver and Boulder. What brought you out
halfway
here?
point. Lifestyle, man. It really was lifestyle. I'd spent all my life almost in Ohio, and I spent most of that most of my like post high school years in Columbus, which I love Columbus. I mean, Columbus is near and dear to my heart. It's where I was started. It's where I went to school.
Rogue is out there.
Rogue is out there. In fact, our offices were like 2 blocks apart for a long time.
And then Bill and Katie bought your office and kicked
And
you out.
they bought the rest of
city.
Columbus, actually.
They own Columbus.
That's right.
It's now just
Mayor's Bill and Katie.
Rogue, Ohio.
Rogue City.
That's right. They
that
made me
is-
get that tattoo. Actually. It's really strange.
You want to stay here? You need a Rogue tattoo?
That's on my
You're
thigh.
like, I can't do it. Can't
There's
do
people
it.
with the barbell logo tattooed on them.
It's a cool logo, though.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd want to tattoo it.
You want to put green lights on your finger.
It's because it makes me think about you.
Even worse.
That's a weird
Do we have a
reminder.
sound effect for that?
Da-na-na-na-na.
Creeper.
We actually have the appointment at the tattoo shop this week, so we're getting
wait.
it. We're getting it. But you like it out here?
I love it out here. I do. I like a lot of things about Ohio, but the one thing that sucks, I think.
Hold on. Go back to that. Yeah, I was going to say, what do you like about Ohio?
Well, what I don't like about Ohio is the weather.
weather
What I
sucks.
like about Ohio is, there's something to be said with kind of the Midwest people and work ethic and, sense of community out there. That's real, and I miss that. But you get a little bit of that out here, too, I've found. But you also get 300 days of sunshine a year, which is awesome.
That's what I'm trying to explain to people about
That's a huge
Colorado.
deal,
like
man.
Today, it's mid-Jan or end of January, midday you can go outside shirt off.
Yeah, totally.
And in the sun, it feels amazing.
Show off your tattoos.
Yeah, show off your prison tats. But it's beautiful here.
It is.
I mean, Marcus isn't. You're not. How close are you to San Diego?
I am the most southern city in Orange County bordering San Diego.
So you're very close, but and it's a slightly warmer climate.
Slightly.
But this is, equally sunny.
touch,
Yeah. I love it out here for that reason.
That was a big factor why we decided to move out here.
Who's we?
My fiance, Victoria, is her name.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we made the decision. We were actually looking at Austin versus Boulder pre-pandemic, and we were leaning towards Austin. And then the pandemic happened, and like a lot of people, it changed a lot of things for us. And it's like, I want to get, I don't want to be in the mixed of a bunch of people all the time. I don't want to be in the shit. I want to be away. I want to be like closer to nature.
Yeah.
And so that's why we ended up here.
And you're kind of an outdoorsy guy too.
I am.
Right?
Yeah.
Mountain biking. Jay owns a mountain bike.
Dude, now I own like 3 different bikes.
What do you say?
I feel like
I own one. That implies I don't.
Jay went to a bike shop last week.
I know how to. I own it and I know how to ride.
he's ridden a bike before.
I know.
I've seen him.
We should get together.
We should.
I got a great
love that.
loop off 93. You know that gas station? I don't know if you've been there, but it's always got like monster trucks.
Oh yeah, was my normal loop actually.
Yeah, there's that great like
Marshall
15.
Mesa.
Yeah, Marshall Mesa.
Yeah.
I would like once a week.
it
it's
once,
just-
yeah.
No, I've done it a half dozen times. I put some headphones. My routine is I download a Dead show, Grateful Dead,
Yeah.
and I just put it on, and
Nice.
2 hours later,
grind, baby.
So we got to hit it up out there.
As soon as it's open again, that's a story in and of itself. But the Marshall Mesa is where the fire.
Oh yeah, I
started,
haven't even
obviously.
thought about that.
So that's all scorched.
Yeah.
So talk about that because you got here and then that unfolded.
Well, it's really been an interesting 10, 11 months out here. So I was telling you guys before when we moved out here, I think it was March. I can't remember the exact date, but it was a Friday. Our moving truck got here on Friday, and the following day, Denver, Boulder area was hit with the largest snowstorm that it's seen in like 80 years.
My parents were here that weekend. I was like,
That was
the power
nuts.
went out. My parents are here. We had like a 1 month old at the time.
It was
I
crazy.
like, this is terrible.
And I've seen snow before. Like I grew up in Ohio. Cincinnati gets snow. Columbus gets a lot of snow. Like I know what that looks like. This was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Like this was, you walk outside and you can't see 10 feet ahead of you because it's a blizzard. And it was awesome. That was when I knew. I was like, okay, this is what nature's like.
But the difference in Ohio is like 2 days later, that's melted.
So 2 days after that snowstorm, so the snowstorm was a Saturday, and it was cold. I can't remember the temperature. Let's call it 10, 20 degrees. A lot of snow accumulated. The Monday right after, so 2 days after, I was shoveling my driveway, to your point, with shorts and a T-shirt, and it was like 60 degrees. It was crazy.
I try to go outside every day in the cold just to get the sun, and it's
I do the same
it
thing.
feels so
Yeah.
good, and you don't get sunburned.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. What else do you do out here other than mountain bike?
Well, like everybody, I had to spend a bunch of money on bikes that feel like that's a rite of passage.
It's your buy-in to Colorado.
Yeah, totally, 100%. So
That's how you support the economy.
my jaw dropped when I realized, oh, that's what a road bike is. Okay, got it. So several
a
thousand
car.
dollars later. Yeah, pretty much.
dude.
So a road bike, I mountain bike. I've got a pretty boring set routine during the week. I'll do CrossFit 4 times a week, and then I'll do hot yoga to supplement that twice a week. And then I start every morning out with a nice mile-long ruck in my neighborhood in the sunshine. Yeah.
What do you throw on when you say ruck? What are you using?
I have a Go Ruck pack with 40 pounds in it.
Nice.
That's where I saw you online.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah, it was a picture with the Go Ruck.
Oh, cool.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
Awesome.
Right, did you hang out with the owner of Go Ruck?
Not recently. No.
There's a picture of you.
Okay. Well, I'm
telling you.
He better pay me some money.
So you do a 1 mile ruck every day?
I do, yeah.
And then when you say CrossFit, what does that look like for you?
I'll generally go to a gym called Coda CrossFit Iron View. Do you know Coda?
We were just actually, we're
Get out
going
of
to
here.
need you to connect us. So we got an interview on Thursday. We need a place to do it. And I literally
That's
just
perfect. I can make that happen.
Yeah.
The owners are awesome. The owners are so
Perfect.
great.
Cold emailed them like a half an hour ago.
Yeah, we literally just shot him a DM.
I can warm
Yeah,
that
good.
pretty easily.
Everything in this world is about relationships, people.
Dude, 1,000%.
Treat people
man.
right, and it works out.
Were you just setting that up this entire time?
He has no friends.
Should have never
guessed on the button on that one. I gotta admit, I wasn't sure what was
Perfect. Man, drop the mic, get out of here.
That's a wrap, guys. See you
But you
next week.
train it. Coda's got multiple affiliates.
They do.
Yeah.
And so I've known the owner for a long time. Great guy. Name's Kevin Schutz. Kevin owned an affiliate out in Oklahoma, which I believe is where
That's right. That's
Coda
where they started, yeah.
He's a games level athlete. He's since kind of retired. But Kevin and I can't remember when we first met, but let's call it 5 years ago. And around 3 years ago, he called me one day. He's a longtime retailer of O2, so we had a good relationship. And he's like, hey, Liz and I are moving out to Colorado. I'm like, cool. What for? It's like, well, we're going to start a gym out there. We just kind of wanted the lifestyle a little bit more. We got sick of the Oklahoma, vibe and weather and what have you. So I'm like, all right, that's great. And so I kind of tucked that away in the back of my head. Kevin and Liz are out in Colorado. Cool, whatever. Fast forward to, the first week that we're here. And Vic and I are headed to the local Sprouts store to get some groceries. And so we turn left out of our street and we're, maybe 3 minutes into this drive. I'm kind of looking around and I see to my left, Coda CrossFit Iron View. I'm like, oh my God, that's Kevin's gym. Like, I don't have to, I found my gym.
And he's here.
awesome.
He's here as a part of it.
Yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
here. And it's a great gym. There's a lot of CrossFit staff that works out there. You and I were talking about Bert earlier, and then somebody from social media team works out there.
Oh, it's probably
Patrick, I think is his name.
Oh no, I was thinking. Why am I brain farting? Anyway, we'll come back to it. But
It's a good gym, and the level of instruction is. I mean, I've been to hundreds of CrossFit gyms at this point. The level of instruction is 10 out of 10. And the vibe that those guys create, 10 out of 10. Like, they're just good dudes. You want to go to class, not only because you're going to get a good challenging workout, but it's like, I can't wait to see Kevin or Casey or see what everybody's up to. It's just a really good vibe.
That's the best.
It's a good gym. It's a really good gym.
And hard to find.
It is.
How did you guys? Because I know you and Fern had a relationship. Where did that come from?
We've had a very long, very serious relationship.
Yep.
Fern and I.
It's coming to an end.
Is it? Oh,
on the show right now. Yeah. So
broadcast.
no, I think James connected us.
Hobart?
Yeah,
probably.
pretty sure. I don't actually remember.
Could have been Cooper. Chris Cooper.
No, I'm pretty sure it was James.
Was it James?
Yeah, I'm pretty
For
sure
what
it was
reason?
James.
Like when you were doing 31 Heroes?
No, I don't remember why. I think it might have just been for the podcast. I think he was just like,
I think it was.
Because I know you've been on in the past. Fern interviewed you.
It was first day for May, I think, when we
yes.
when we did
Okay,
the
so that's what it
pandemic
was. So
response
yeah, so that was actually one of the things I wanted to highlight is that obviously you guys have done a ton for the CrossFit community. Stay for May. You guys are still doing the gift cards.
Yeah, still doing the gift cards.
Anybody who's not doing that is a fool.
Yeah, but don't brush over that. Tell the listeners what it is.
Yeah, so you guys are basically giving $150 gift cards.
$100.
$100. Yeah, I was way off. So $100 gift cards to the affiliates to use at O2, Peoria,
Yep.
Bear Complex,
No. Born Primitive. Yep.
Okay.
And then Four Sigmatic.
That's right. Yeah,
RPM.
yeah. RPM. Yeah. So
But that's per member, right?
Yeah.
just call them and they'll send you a pack of these things.
free.
So yeah, it's free. So that's one of the things I give to new clients when they come in. It's like part of their welcome package.
It's branded new member gift card.
It's killer.
To be
It's
like
a killer
No,
idea.
Ralston
Welcome to the
Creek
gym
does
kit.
that.
Yeah, but during the shutdowns, when I was, the world was ending, James was like, hey, he connected us. And then I think that was the first time you came on the podcast. And then I remember I was sitting in my empty gym. I had moved all the lounge chairs in the gym because we had gotten rid of all the equipment. And I had set up a little studio on the main floor in there. And I was recording in there. We were doing gym content. I was doing podcasts with you. So that's how we connected first. Yeah. So
The Rife Lobby.
So
right.
let's bring it back to the beginning. How did you get started with O2?
Boy, that's a long story.
Give us the
You want the
elevator.
the elevator pitch,
Yeah.
the 30-second version, the nutshell?
My
Shark
attention-
Tank.
Because
Shark Tank.
attention-
Give us
sports
the shark-
drinks are shit and haven't evolved in 60 years.
But you've really, I think, from watching Shark Tank, from understanding business, you realize how hard it is to infiltrate certain spaces. I was just talking to my wife about Dave's bread.
Oh, Dave's Killer
Right?
Bread.
Dave's Killer Bread, right?
Oh, yeah.
The
Love that
story's
stuff.
awesome. That guy, speaking of prison, came out of prison,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I mean, he's part of the bread aisle now.
Yep.
People know him. That's hard. It was Wonder Bread and what?
Wonder Bread.
That's really it, right?
Wonder Bread Light.
I think you have infiltrated the sports drink market.
We have. I mean, we still have a long way to go.
But you're in
before
stores
we're-
now.
yeah.
I mean, almost many affiliates are carrying you?
We're in over 1,500 gyms at last
I mean,
count.
that's over 10%. That's probably close to what, 20% of affiliates
but
these
Whole
days?
Foods, you guys are carried like a large market.
We are. And honest to God, if I were doing this all over again, I would purely be focused on the fitness channel. Like, that's it. I wouldn't be in any grocery stores. I'd have a D2C business because that's important. Convenience is important. But like, this is not me just catering to the audience. The fitness channel is so valuable for so many reasons that would be almost our exclusive focus. And that is really, like, that's priority number one going into 2022 is to really build that business out.
That's where you started though, right?
That is where we started.
Yeah. Because you were, I don't want to say door to door, but kind of.
100% door to door. We were out of the back of my car, literally.
What's your background?
So I worked for 5 years in financial services. I was at a large insurance company in Columbus, Nationwide Insurance, in corporate strategy and then marketing. And then I actually cut my entrepreneurial teeth as a founder of a nonprofit private charter high school in Columbus called Cristo Rey. And so that was the first time that I had an idea and, I made it into something versus not just PowerPoint. Like it is a school that exists today that graduates, 100 kids every year. It's amazing. Caters to lower income demographic. It's really, really powerful. And so that's when I kind of caught the bug for entrepreneurship and building shit because it's fun. Once you do it, you're like, oh man, I want some more of that, And over the course of the 2 or so years that it took to get that off the ground, I was still employed at Nationwide. I still had my pretty demanding day job. And then I had this other pretty demanding night job, like starting a school. And so I found myself drinking a ton of Gatorade and a ton of Red Bull and just to kind of just survive, And at a certain point, I'm like, this is not good. Like I've got this rather unhealthy addiction to these clearly unhealthy drinks. I like what they're supposed to do for me, but I don't like how they're actually made, And so I met a guy who became a good, fast friend as part of the nonprofit work that we were doing. And he was finishing his medical residency at Ohio State's hospital, and he became my doctor buddy. And so one day I'm like, Dan, it was similar age, similar lifestyle. Like, what do you drink instead of all this fucking Gatorade and Red Bull that I'm sucking down? He's like, oh, dude, I do the same thing. I was like, you're a doctor. You know better.
You're the guy I'm going to call when this breaks down.
The options are really so limited that a doctor does the same. Well, clearly there has to be a better way, and that's when we set out to make a better version of, the functional hydration drinks that we were already drinking.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember vaguely, but this was kind of based off of IV solutions, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So we were not screwing around when we said, okay, we're going to make the best drink out there. We're going to make the best sports hydration drink, period. And that took 2 years of R&D and another 2 years of formulation and testing and different flavorings and what have you. I mean, that was not a small feat. And so the electrolyte ratio is actually based off of the same level of sodium to potassium that you would find in a standard IV bag. There's all kinds of other fun facts about O2, but that was one we took very seriously. It's like, if we're going to leave our jobs, or if I'm going to leave Dan, the doctor, never left his job, but he's got med school debt that I don't have. Yeah, yes. But if I'm going to leave my job, then I'm not going to leave it for something that's not worth leaving your job for, So
did you have someone help guide you through that process? Because that's a pretty complicated
which is why it took so long.
It's the 4-year path.
Yeah, exactly. Now I can take an idea and turn it into a product and have it in market probably within 4 to 6 months tops.
Okay.
Whereas then it was I have no idea what I'm doing and where do you learn this stuff?
So
Google searches, what have you.
I'd actually like to stay there for a second. So this actually, from an affiliate standpoint, if you were going to start a gym from scratch, what would be like the 2 to 5 key things that you would do before opening a gym? So taking that concept that you just explained, because most people just put zero thought into it. They're like,
let's just start.
Well, let's just start. What are they charging?
I mean,
and this guy will give me a lease, and I don't know how to read leases.
Well, you got to have the best possible product, right? That's straightforward. I feel like, be a really good coach and buy good stuff and have a good, venue.
Don't suck.
Right. But what I think is probably a little underestimated is the power of building an audience before you launch. That's some of the most successful affiliates that I've gotten to know over the years were pretty much running an affiliate before they started taking money from people. They were central to their community. They were hosting outdoor workouts with their friends. They had an audience. So on day one, when your rent check is due and your electric bills, like you got to start paying bills, you have, okay, I know 30 people who are going to join my gym immediately. All right, I'm covered there. And then I can get 30 of their friends to join month 2 and month 3. So building an audience, I think, is super important.
Well, and we were talking about that with Ben, just giving it away for free.
Yeah.
At first, right? I mean, and really that was our business model.
That's my business model. I mean, if you've got a good product and you know people are going to like it, it makes a ton of sense. If your product sucks, don't do that. It's going to waste a lot of money. But if it's good,
I don't know why it didn't work. It sucks.
Yeah. You did it wrong.
So what was it like from day one, like you said, to this can?
It was pretty arduous, man. I mean, from the R&D process, I mean, we probably spun our wheels for 2 years before we had something that was even consumable. We're talking to a lot of people, doing a lot of quote market research and focus groups, which was just us buying our friends drinks and asking them what
taste this. What do you think?
Yeah. And then we went into the formulation process. A lot of people don't know this, but we were so, junior and naive to this industry. Nobody would take our phone calls. And what we were setting out to make is a pretty challenging product to make. You're stripping away all the preservatives and all the sugar that's commonly found in these common drinks. And oh, by the way, these manufacturers of these products are set up to make common drinks. So they're not set up to do the uncommon, they're set up to do the common. So we're manufacturing a product that's already uncommon such that it doesn't have a bunch of bullshit in it. And we're adding oxygen to it. And that's legit. That's a big deal. There is 7 times more oxygen than normal water in this product because we put it in there. It's a gas and you can put it in to the liquid just like you can put in carbonation to the liquid. And so that was unheard of. Nobody was doing that. And so what that translated into is nobody would take our phone call. Like we're 2 kids who don't really know what they're doing and we're trying to make this great tasting drink free of preservatives and no sugar and it's oxygenated. Are you kidding? I wouldn't take my phone call, and so it got to a point where we're like, screw it, we'll do it ourselves. And so we rented out a small space in a local kitchen in downtown Columbus. And one day a week, we would manufacture this product. We bought a used bar gun from a restaurant supply company. And those, the bar guns, like soda gun, right? And so we got our hands on a tank of oxygen. And you can kind of put 2 and 2 together how we got that.
Mad scientists, you're like, how much? How do we hook this thing up? How does this work?
That was actually pretty easy. We just took the canister of CO2 that it came and swapped it out with the tank of O2. So we had our oxygenation machine, and then we bought some ingredients on Amazon, like flavors and sweeteners and caffeine and other stuff, and we started putting it all together. And
so you're quite literally making it yourself.
We were making it ourselves. Well, I would drive down to Cincinnati every other...
Lighting things on fire.
Yeah.
Explosions.
Yes, all of that.
Bunsen, I think
I don't have a left eyebrow now. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I would drive to Cincinnati every other week to buy, 50 cases of glass bottles from Cincinnati Container because we didn't have the equipment to manufacture in aluminum. And because it's oxygenated, it's got to be glass, can't be plastic. So we would, fill up these stupid clunky glass bottles with this mad concoction that we made. And there were 2 universal pieces of feedback. Universal piece of feedback one was, this tastes terrible. This does not taste good. Universal,
but it's good for you.
But it works. Yeah. That was universal number 2. But my God, does this work? And so we found, I knew that we were onto something when we were selling this, to convenience stores and local bars. We were selling $5 a bottle. It had this silly branding on it. And it tasted terrible, but it worked. And I knew that we were onto something when I found out the Ohio State men's basketball team was buying it by the case from one of these convenience stores on campus to use it instead of Gatorade. And so I was like, okay, that's good because we can hire somebody to make this taste good. We can figure that out. The hard part is actually making it work.
So when people make it work,
that's
what does that mean?
That's a great question. So
I was going to say the same. I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah. He wasn't.
Damn it, wrong one.
Man.
Damn it. That's the one I was looking for. Shit.
We got to get you a little cheat card.
I know. We got to put some notes on there.
So there's let's call it 3 to 5 pretty standard use cases that people drink O2 for today. One is the obvious, post-workout recovery.
Right.
And depending on when you work out, you might grab a caffeinated flavor after your morning class or a caffeine-free flavor after your evening class. But it's branded a recovery drink. That's the obvious.
This one has caffeine.
This
correct?
one has
This
caffeine.
one is
Yes, that's the orange
non-caffeinated.
mango.
Non-carbonated.
100
They're all
milligrams
non-carbonated.
of caffeine.
Yeah. So
Keto friendly, so you're okay, Fern.
Thank God.
All of our products are non-carbonated, and so that's another. When do people drink O2? It's when they like something that they can chug too, no bubbles. But post-workout recovery is one. It's hard to quantify this, but we heard really from like day one that people just feel less sore after they drink O2 the next day. We suspect that it has something to do with the oxygen. There's some science behind that. We haven't done it, so I don't go around claiming this is going to make you less sore tomorrow. But
I'll do it.
The science.
I'll do it for
Thanks,
you.
Jason.
We worked out today. We'll tell you.
Perfect.
Tomorrow.
I feel less sore now.
The anatomy of that makes sense, but that's a hard thing to quantify. It's totally subjective, right? If you're drinking O2 for like morning hydration, which is kind of use case number 2, you have some caffeine in there, that you can feel. You can feel that 10 minutes. I don't know how sensitive you guys are to caffeine. If you're super sensitive, sorry about losing sleep tonight.
No.
But it's a cup and a half's worth of coffee or so. So it's a good amount of caffeine that you can feel. So that's kind of use case number 2. Use case number 3 is probably the more fun use case, depending on how you look at it. O2 works incredibly well for hangovers. And
I was going to say, or you can mix it.
Yeah, and you can definitely mix it. Yeah, it's a great mixer as well. So that's another one you can feel, like, when you're sort of getting out of the hangover zone, you can feel that tangibly. And then use case number 4 is it just tastes good. Like, everybody's got a palate, and so it's like, I like this taste.
How many flavors are there?
So there are 4 flavors of O2, and then we also have the water, which is I'm drinking, which is unflavored.
And the water has the same benefits. It's got oxygen in
It's
there.
got oxygen. It's got electrolytes. Doesn't have as many electrolytes.
Keto
as
friendly, the water.
Can I check that out?
Yeah, go for it.
The water's keto friendly.
Water's keto friendly, as most waters are, to my knowledge.
I'm on a diet.
I put sugar in my water, so
It's gluten free too.
Oh, perfect.
kosher. Is it kosher?
It's kosher, yeah. But the water is something I'm particularly proud of, because one of our sort of brand tenets, brand values is, we make things that people can feel good about putting in their body, and people can feel good about, putting into the environment. And so
I just read that line here. It says, what is 17,000? It's how many plastic bottles were pitched before you finished this sentence.
isn't that terrifying?
That's
and
nuts.
that's also true and very quantifiable. So all of our products are in aluminum cans, which, a lot of people don't know this, but I don't know, 80-90% of aluminum today has been in circulation for the past 100 years. It's by far the most recyclable material out of the glass, plastic, aluminum trifecta. Aluminum, recycle it all day, every day. And so we don't use any plastic with our drinks. We're looking to completely remove plastic from our supply chain by the end of this year. And last year we became not only carbon neutral, but now we're carbon negative. So we actually provide a positive impact
How's
to
that?
the environment. So with our shipping arrangement, we effectively offset the carbon emissions to the point where we're more than offsetting it, if that makes sense.
Great.
And
Can
then
you explain that? Like, you pretend like you're explaining it to a 5-year-old.
we buy a bunch
he
of
can
trees.
understand it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
trees.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this flavor, orange mango.
I'm still upset about the CBD, to be honest.
That was a
So
great
yeah,
product.
what's going on? You had CBD in some of the drinks, and
It kills
we
your
did.
margin.
It kills
is that
your
what
margin.
it is? It's just too expensive.
It's so
It's
expensive.
crazy.
well, it's
so
like the
expensive.
Killcliff ones are like $11
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
per can.
Yeah,
And it
seriously.
affects your whole business, right?
Yeah.
It does, and that's ultimately why we decided to get away from it. So we made what I still think is one of the best, if not the best, CBD drinks on the market.
It was,
it was fantastic.
I was drinking it like it was going out of
It
style.
was great.
It was
great
going out of
product.
style.
It was great.
Out of production, at least.
Literally going at it.
The problem was cost of CBD was super high, and to sell it online, which most of our business is online. And when I say online, I mean, you can go to drinko2.com, buy a case, but that's where you're going to wholesale.drinko2.com. That's still online.
Right.
And you can't sell CBD products online without having a high risk payment processing gateway. And so it's not a straightforward setup. Like, you have to have these special banks to process all the payments, and because they're higher risk,
I'm gonna give you one word: Bitcoin. You should have accepted Bitcoin. It would have
it's
changed
not
everything.
quite as volatile as Bitcoin.
All right.
But it just, net result is, like, it was we were doing so much of our regular O2 sales online, and we had to pay like 10% for every purchase of O2, not only the CBD product, but because they're all in the same payment processor, the regular product too, we were just hemorrhaging merchant fees, and it made it.
So as soon as you got rid of it, your margins for regular O2 actually went up.
Yeah.
How long did you try that to make that work before you're like, we got it, this is not going to work?
We cleared it out, if memory serves. First production was November, and we went through November, December 2019, and then we were through the last case June, July.
So 7-8 months, and that was it.
I bring that up because I think that's just a valuable lesson to highlight there. Is just like know when to cut your losses. I don't think affiliates,
I think that's right.
with regard to keeping classes or running programs.
What's the term for that? Where it's like you're so into it, like you
sunk cost.
Sunk cost, right?
Sunk cost fallacy. So it's like, but I think people, they hold on to those. It's like, it's going to work. And I'm like, no, the numbers say it's not going to work. Just move on and go back to your core thing.
Is that a tough decision?
To do. It was a tough decision, but it's a decision you're really proud of, because if what's the term? I don't want to kill your babies being on podcast, but it's like, you gotta kill your favorites.
Yeah.
If they're your favorites and they're nobody else's, doesn't matter. Kill them. Get rid of them, because it's just.
But that's a big business thing right there. Like, you can be so passionate, care so much, know it works, but if the world is telling you it doesn't
matter what you think. It matters what your customers think.
I think that's the objective nature of like understanding I'm romantic about something and then saying, I can be romantic about it and not do it.
Dude,
like, that's fine. I can just let that idea live and not move forward with it.
Totally.
And I think that's something a lot of like, you can do that in a micro version, a macro version. I think I feel like that's relatively. I thought you were going to say longer than that, honestly.
What's that?
I thought you were going to say that you tried for longer than that to make it work.
No, I mean, when it's usually intellectually, you just don't want to accept it emotionally. And I'll give you another example. Like, we are going through the process as we speak of rebranding totally O2.
Really?
Totally. I mean, it's still going to be called O2, but the visual identity is going to change. The packaging is going to still be in cans, but it's just going to look and feel a whole lot different. And it's likely going to be branded either a sports drink or a hydration drink versus a recovery drink. Because even though we entered the market as a recovery drink and we think of it as a recovery drink, doesn't matter what I think.
Right.
Most people are using it as an alternative to Gatorade, or it's a better tasting water.
Right.
It's a hydration drink at the end of the day to our customers. And so there's a recovery element of that, but there's a much larger hydration piece of that, which just makes more sense for people buying it. So even though it's going to make my life a little bit more difficult rebranding this thing from recovery drink to hydration drink, it's the best thing for the customers.
So when you launched, were you doing CrossFit?
I was actually coaching CrossFit when we launched.
Back in Ohio. What box?
Buckeye CrossFit.
Buckeye CrossFit. Yep. So is that how O2 kind of got involved in the CrossFit world?
Exactly.
Because I think of you as like a CrossFit beverage.
We started in CrossFit. We're still very rooted in CrossFit. There are other gyms that sell O2. Lifetime just started selling O2, for example. But CrossFit is like, that's the origin. That's where we built. That's where we were made. And the only reason that happened is because at the time I was coaching. And like, I didn't have these, major contracts with major retailers lined up. I didn't know anybody in the industry. I just knew that I had a truckload of this product that nobody had ever heard of, that I was solely responsible for selling. And so I was fortunate to have a network of friends that owned gyms that I trained with in the Columbus area. And I'm like, hey, you sell my stuff, And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. Initially as a favor to me, I'm sure, but it turned out it worked really, really well. So it kind of built out from there.
So what was that like? You're at Buckeye, they're buying a few cases a week, a month. And then what was the next gym?
So Buckeye was one of the first PSKC CrossFit, Dale King.
Dale King, yep.
Doc Spartan.
Doc Spartan. So O2 launched at the Arnold Fitness Festival in 2014. And I was judging the CrossFit event. I'd already signed up to do that, and I wanted to honor that commitment. So I wasn't really working our booth. I was judging. My girlfriend at the time was working the booth. And the folks who podiumed got a case or two of O2. And so the Doc Spartan crew, PSKC team, got third place, and they got a couple cases of O2. And, being a little entrepreneurial at the time, I slid my business card into each case, right? And the next morning I get a text from Dale. He's like, bro, I don't know what the fuck this stuff is, but like we were out all night and I partied hard and I just drank 2 of these and feel fine. I got to get this in my gym.
That was word for word what the text said for Dale too.
Sounds like Dale.
That's right. And ever since, I mean, those guys, like they sell, I don't know, 10 cases a week probably. They fly through the product in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. And because they got a great community that they've introduced to retail and the product just fits, you know?
That's cool. That's really cool.
So moving forward, you said earlier in the show that you guys are going to refocus your efforts on like the affiliate community or the CrossFit community. What does that look like moving forward?
I don't think we ever lost our focus there. So I want to say that if anything, we're leaning even more into it. You know?
Yeah, please forgive me. That was
no.
He often offends people.
I'm deeply offended. I'm taking off my mic now.
The show edgy.
But that's important to me because I view that as like that is literally the channel where I grew up in and I grew up the brand in. And for the first year and a half, it was just me. And I was doing all the deliveries and all the sales and everything. Like I spent a lot of fucking time at CrossFit gyms. And so that channel is personally very important to me. And, you know, there have been others in the space, I think, that have made a strategic decision not to focus there as much after, you know, however many years in business, they shift their focus to retail or scale or whatever. And I think that's wrong for a number of reasons. It's certainly wrong for our business. So we have, you know, at the end of 2019, actually, I remember very clearly thinking, man, I never should have, like, I just want to focus on gyms, namely CrossFit gyms. I don't really care about, you know, Kroger or whatever these other retailers are. And then the pandemic hit. And so I wouldn't say we lost our focus, but we definitely shifted our focus for our business to survive. Yeah, and we pivoted, thankfully, in a really successful way that was able to, you know, grow our business to allow us to really thrive in that time. But we were able to do so in a way that provided a really, truly meaningful impact to the core of our business.
Well, that's what I wanted to highlight was the strategy that you pursued there was an absolute win-win.
Thanks, man.
So, I mean, obviously it very much seems to me, and I think anybody that probably knows you, that like you felt that you owed CrossFit a debt.
Yeah. Totally.
And it was and you have paid it tenfold, my friend. So like, I mean, it's like,
What do you mean by that?
well, just, you know, with the win back, you know, like the campaign and like the Stay for May and like all, they were like first one to the table with like, we need to keep affiliates open. Like anything we can do to keep people from not canceling memberships. I think that was one of the first conversations we ever had.
That's right, because that's where I first saw that campaign was, you know, during the pandemic, the box I was at, you were giving along with the other companies.
Yeah, the profit sharing.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, we were, that was 6 weeks. And over the course of those 6 weeks, you know, we first O2, just because we thought it was the right thing to do, when the pandemic hit and all our clients started to close down, we're like, well, shit, we know that people are going to keep buying O2. They're just going to shift their consumption from the gym to drinko2.com. And it doesn't feel right just to take that and say, good luck, affiliates. We're just going to take the profits that you would.
For the record, for the business, that's a better sale.
Sure.
Because
it's a higher margin.
Right. There's a you're
higher
selling
price.
it to the box, and then
right.
they're making a profit as well.
That's
Yeah.
right. So we said, we're just going to split the profits, and we're not going to like give it like a 10% commission. We're going to do like 50-50. You know, so every time
it was aggressive. You
it was aggressive.
What do you think about this? Yeah, I was like, I think it's amazing.
Are you?
I don't know how you're going to make it work, but I was like, but this is awesome.
Were you
that was a
giving
leap of faith for sure, because it's like, all right, I feel that if you do the right thing, it'll be recognized, and you know, you'll be better for it. And in this instance, that was totally true, because we announced that program on March 18th, and by March 21st, we had done more revenue online than our best month ever. In 3 days.
Did you split that amongst all affiliates or only affiliates that had previously purchased O2?
We made it for our clients first, and then saw such a strong response that we just opened it up to anyone. You could sign up online. And the way that we did it was your gym would have a unique coupon code that you could share with your members, and that allowed us to track the
So when someone
sales.
used that code, the gym then received
exactly.
part of that?
Exactly.
And the gyms that did that, have you noticed that now that they're opened again?
It depends. Some of them didn't.
And do you hate those gyms now?
The gyms that closed because of the pandemic?
Not the gyms that closed. I'm saying the gyms that signed up, now that if they did reopen, did they continue to sell O2?
Oh, yeah.
So you got a lot of new gyms through that initiative.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
And then the ones that didn't, you don't like.
Well, I would say we perhaps haven't made our value proposition clear enough.
Look at this guy. Look at this. Knowing your value.
Well, no, I think that's most importantly, I think that's understanding your market. And if you think about what the CrossFit community, what CrossFit affiliates value most, it's like honesty, trust. I mean, like if you want to blow your business up the fastest way possible in the CrossFit community is like, be a shyster. Be a shyster. And they'll be like, burn that thing to the ground. Like it's over overnight. And you guys doubled down on that. And everybody was just like, yeah, I'm totally on board. That fits exactly with who we are and what we do.
That's what Glassman used to say all the time. Like, what, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was like CrossFitters in general have a very low bullshit tolerance.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's right. And there's a very strong, I think, moral compass with CrossFitters in general that's unique to the community, and CrossFitters just rally around doing the right thing, especially when it's hard. And that's what I'm proud of with O2 and our team. Like most of us are CrossFitters, all of us are very bought into the values. We define them as honesty, humility, and hustle.
I was going to ask
those
you.
Those are O2's values.
What is it?
It's on the can.
Hustle, grind, and execution.
Honesty. Those are all downs, by the way. We did not get these off of the Etsy site. Honesty, humility, and hustle. And those, that probably sounds pretty familiar. Those are my personal values, many of which were rooted and formed and strengthened by doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
It's not on this can. It's on your can.
It's on that. It's on the
What's
water.
it say?
Yeah.
What are they?
Honesty, humility, and hustle.
That's John Cena, no?
No.
Hustle, loyalty,
Dave
respect.
Colina, yeah. How big is your team now?
10 people. So
That's it?
That's it, yeah. A lot of people are shocked to find
No,
out.
I think that's so, like, we're a team of 4.
Fortune 5,000, right? Company?
I was Fortune 100, actually.
Really?
Wait, is that real?
No. So you're
yours.
talking about two different things.
Yeah.
I started my career at a Fortune 100.
No.
I was like,
O2 is now. That would be way more impressive.
I needed to be.
That just raised the bar.
I would have asked different questions.
Fortune 100, yeah. We were going to bump you ahead of the Eric Rosa interview if that's the case.
Yeah, but last year you made Fortune.
Inc. 5000.
Inc. 5000. Inc. 5000. Sorry.
Inc. 5000.
So what is, you're one of the top 5,000, what is it? Just in general, or is it a specific
Top
demographic?
Inc. 5000 is the 5,000 fastest growing private companies in the United States. And we're number 1,028.
That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, man.
Are we on that list?
Nope.
Oh.
Largely,
Marcus,
because we
can you
have
get us on that list?
we have the anchor.
Not with you on
over
the team.
Yes, but
So, but speaking of, we were talking about it before we got on. You're going public?
well, kind of. We're doing a private company's version of going public.
What's
basically.
that mean?
Good morning. We feel that this is such a strong, and then finally exit opportunities, and then finally multiples. You'll have to do some editing magic there.
I don't know, is it weird that I'm a food scientist?
They like the fact that it's very low sugar and good for them. Hey guys. Just kidding.
Squeeze your butt cheeks together. You should really feel those butt cheeks squeezing together at the top. Squeezing that butt cheek. How many times can I say squeeze butt cheek?
That's a really hard question for me.
Sweet. That was a good one. We're doing a crowdfunding campaign. So we've decided over the course of the last 18 months or so that we know we have a product people love. Like, we know that. We have a lot of equity in the space. Most people who drink O2 come back for more. Our repeat purchase rates are through the roof. So it's time to really attack this market. And by this market, I mean like the hydration space, the Gatorades, the Body Armors, the Powerades of the world. Like, these drinks have not evolved with the rest of us to the point where they're still offering the same bullshit formulation they were 60 years ago.
Just changing
They have so many colors.
Changing the colors.
They got so many colors.
They got blue glacier now. You have blue ice.
To do that, like, that requires a lot of money, and we feel that we can do that and do that very well when the business is fully capitalized. And so we decided last summer that we were going to set up a Series A fundraise. So we're going to raise our first significant amount of money in one small period of time. And instead of doing that in kind of the more traditional way of venture capital or private equity or what have you, we're going to go to our community. And we've been a grassroots brand really since day one. I mean, it started literally out of the back of my car. And so that community vibe and that community approach has always served O2 pretty well and has always been something that people really responded to. And so the way to do a fundraise is by crowd raising from us.
Is that open currently, or
it is open currently?
So I don't remember what.
So that fundraise launched it was the day before New Year's Eve, And
the fire.
You remember this?
Right.
Yeah, same day as the Marshall fires. And if for those listening who don't remember or don't recall, the Marshall fires was the largest wildfire in Colorado's history. I mean, Colorado's had a lot of wildfires. And my fiance and I were driving back from Ohio, where we spent the holiday with family, and we were about 4 hours in. And
you were driving back.
We were driving back
the
that
30th,
day.
the day of the fire.
30th.
Oh.
And I had been working like for the previous 3 or 4 months to get this fundraiser off the ground. I mean, it was not easy. There's a whole lot of, compliance and regulatory stuff you have to do. And the platform that we're using, it's called Seed Invest. Their whole thing is, we're offering maybe 10 to 20 companies at a time doing a fundraise versus 800-900 because we highly vet our companies. Like, if you go on to Seed Invest, these are legit companies. Like, these are good.
So just getting on there is like a lot of validity to you.
2% acceptance rate.
Oh, wow.
And the vetting process is legit.
That's the same percentage as level 4 coaches, by the so
that right?
Yeah, 2%.
So it's kind of legit.
I'd say they are that actually are, or
that become
and so you have to go through a lot of hurdles and diligence and all this stuff. And so we've been going through all this stuff, and then we got hung up by the IRS at the last minute, and then it was the SEC, and then it's like, oh my God. So I thought I was going to lose my mind. At the time, I was just like, we got to get this thing off the ground before New Year's. Initially, it was supposed to be around Black Friday, and that got kicked down the road. But finally found out 4 hours into that drive, that we were live. It was time to go. So we pulled over.
You're on the drive home with Victoria.
Yeah. So we pulled over at a McDonald's.
Pulled over, you made out.
We made out.
Oh, you got McDonald's.
We ran into the McDonald's, grabbed a cup of coffee, flipped open my laptop,
Mac.
got on the laptop, smothered myself in barbecue sauce, and clicked go and initiated the launch sequence. Like, yes, this thing is finally live.
From a McDonald's.
From a McDonald's, ironically.
Yeah.
I was not drinking a soda at the time. And so we get back in the car and we're like, oh, this feels so good. Like, such a celebration. We made a small VIP announcement to our top 1,000 customers, and a bunch of them invested.
Fern, get that?
I was like, this is a good sign.
I got the second one.
It's in his inbox. He has 13,000.
Top 5,000. And then, I kid you not, maybe 45 minutes later, we get a text message from our neighbor and said, hey guys, Louisville is being evacuated. Louisville's where we live. Louisville is being evacuated because of a wildfire. Just want to let you guys know. Do you need anything from your house before we get the hell out of town? And we're like, are you serious? Like, you have got to be kidding. And so, I was riding shotgun at the time. I started doing some Googling, and it turns out...
Honey, we just went public. You drive.
Yeah.
I don't drive anymore.
I was still taking a lot of calls at the time. but it was legit. I mean, obviously it was legit. A small fire had started
Oh, it was...
right around the Marshall Mesa Trail that we were talking about.
I don't think these guys understood, because I was in my basement all day. Mm-hmm. Like, it was our kind of break, but we had our new launch going on. Mm-hmm. And I've got, friends text me, I'm like, whatever. And then we step outside, I'm like... There's a fire. Yeah. Like, it was huge. You can see it from where we were today earlier. It was incredible. Like, we were on the pre-evacuation list. Mm-hmm. Louisville was a little closer. Everything was okay for you? Your house was okay, everything?
Everything was ultimately fine. We were incredibly close, on that drive home. I mean, everything else became irrelevant. Like, I totally forgot about the fundraise. I totally forgot about, rest my schedule for the day, whatever. All that mattered was, oh my God, there's a pretty good chance we're going to lose our home, because it started in the neighboring town, Superior, and then it jumped a major highway, and then then it started to come over. And then the thing that made it so bad was the winds,
100 mile an hour winds.
It was just the perfect storm.
It really was.
Terrible
it
fire.
really was.
And then it snowed the next day.
Yeah, so 6 years the next day. So our home was on the path of the fire. And it just became a question of, will the winds die down in time to spare our home? And we didn't know. We got a hotel in, I don't know, middle of nowhere, Topeka. We didn't know by the time we went to bed if we were going to have a home to return to the next day. Tosh offered to grab a bunch of stuff, but we got the valuables. And at one point, we were like, you know what? We have got in our car. We drove to Ohio because we took our pets. So it was like, we got the pets. We got our electronics, we got some clothes, we got each other. We're going to be fine.
It was really, eye-opening for us too. We were on the pre-evac list. Mm-hmm. My wife is running around the house. Mm-hmm. She's like, what do you want? I was like, you the baby and those dogs.
Yeah, the important shit.
I was like, that's really it.
So it's like
she was like, what about the computer? I was like, no, just leave it. I was like, I don't care.
It's kind of, I mean, the idea of starting from scratch is sometimes really intimidating, but I was like, you know
It's
what?
also
We can start
exciting.
from scratch. Yeah. Thank God I say that, and I can't imagine what the people are going through, lost their homes. 1,000 people end up losing their homes.
I have friends that, I mean, they lost their pets. Like it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like
it was
so,
awful.
Yeah,
it was awful.
You know, still dealing with that. We're interviewing my jiu-jitsu instructor tomorrow, and you know, a bunch of people from Superior. So yeah, it was bad. And you know, I want to make a big announcement on the show. Put us down for one share.
Oh,
Put us down for one share.
Oh, great. You have to buy 4 as the minimum.
Yeah,
so
we'll just do one of those. Yeah, 25% of that. How much for one?
He's a wheeler dealer.
$115.
$115 for one?
For one.
So $460?
$463 is the minimum.
For, okay. Want to buy one? Are we committing?
Are we splitting? How does this work?
Yeah, well, for the company.
He's going to buy 2. I'm going to buy 1.
What does it get?
I'm
What
gonna
is
buy
it?
10. I'll buy 10.
Tell us what it gets
fourth?
us. Tell us what it gets us. 1, 2. Yeah, Marcus can go and Katie can go.
So I get
over there.
light. So I get O2 for life. For
Free
free.
low.
As
free
long
O2.
as you're buying it, you get O2 for life. Yes.
No, what is
Drive
it?
a hard bargain.
So
retail price?
you're raising money.
So really, yeah, I mean, we're raising money to grow the company, and really, you're buying shares of the company. You're buying stock in the company, and you know, I can't say that you're going to get this type of return.
But you're guaranteeing a return.
I am definitely not guaranteeing a return. In fact, I'll
heard it here
tell
first.
you and everybody listening, if you're thinking about investing in a startup, whether it's O2 or anything else, here's the amount of money you should invest. What you're totally comfortable
with
with
losing.
losing.
It's like
Yes.
crypto. It's like
Yeah.
crypto.
So,
But what is that? So how many shares are available?
Oh man, I don't know.
Because I imagine you're keeping the bulk of them.
There
You as
are,
the owner.
So I have other shareholders in the business. I own the most.
What percentage of the company do you own?
Well, you can go on seedinvest.com/O2 and access the data room to see the cap table.
Seedinvest.com/O2.
Yeah, the letter O, the number 2.
And how this will still be active so people can listen
Yeah,
to
it's
this?
active up until March, I think, or if we fill the raise sooner.
We'll try to get this up.
But there are some cool benefits. But let me finish my preamble to investing in a startup real quick. In addition to only investing, you know, what you're comfortable with losing, you got to, you know, you understand that you are making a bet, right? It's a bet, just like the stock market's a bet. This one's a riskier bet, right? Even though it's an established
reward
company,
potential,
high risk, high reward, right? What we are trying to do, what I'm trying to do, the reason this fundraise is so appealing to me personally isn't the money. We're raising $3.5 million, so however many shares that equates to. That's not what's exciting. What's exciting to me is having an army of O2 investors out there, many of whom own gyms, many of whom go to gyms, many of whom, you know, help us spread the word, build this brand, and are truly a part of this company that makes a product that they love and has values that they identify with. If I can get 1,000 people across the country like that, bought into this company, who can share in this journey with me and help me build this thing, that's fucking awesome. That's what really, I mean, I literally have goosebumps talking about that because it's such an alternative approach to, you know, one guy who's backed by a bunch of bigwig LPs who's got a ton of money and
don't really care about the company.
Care, but these are the people who care. And who matters most than your customers? Who matters most than your true advocates? Those are the people I want as owners.
Where does that, or where do you want that to take you? So as far as like projecting out, like what's some of your major?
If you were to gain the $3.5 million,
what does it do for you?
Yeah, it's all growth. I mean, we don't need a bunch of new products. We don't need a bunch of new channels. We just need to continue doing what we do well and what we know works, which is selling O2 in gyms, which helps spread the word and acquire new customers in other gyms.
Double down.
Yeah, man, we're just doubling down.
Personally, that sounds good to me too. Because if you were like, oh, by the way, we're going to create all these new things, I'd be
We
like,
don't need new shit.
Yeah, let's keep doing what we're doing well. But
it
better.
works. People love it. We just need more people to try O2.
And also what I heard earlier is you're in 1,500 affiliates. Call it what, 10,000 these days?
Yeah, 10 somewhere, probably like 11.
You've not even, you've scratched
Not
the
even
surface.
scratched the
But there's,
You're 15%.
that means
Tons
there's
of
a
upside.
lot of
Tons
upside.
of upside.
I'm in.
Tons of
I'm
upside.
in. I'll do 3 out of 4.
Awesome.
So on that note, you guys are recently in the affiliate partner network.
We are. Yep. I'm super bullish on that. It's been a long time coming, I think, for a lot of different reasons. But
I got an angry text from you.
Did you? What did I say?
You're just like, after the games, you're just like, what?
Oh, that was, don't get
the
me
monster
started.
thing. Yeah, but anyway.
You didn't like Monster? You didn't like Monster being at the CrossFit Games? You
I don't think anybody liked
think
Monster being at the games.
I like their water. I thought their water was good.
Did you? Well, I got one even better for you. It's also in a can.
Were you a sponsor at the games?
No.
Okay.
We've never been a sponsor of the games. And so, I can't remember where we were going with that. But
No, just
the
talk-
APN,
the APN,
which I think is great. The APN's great. The CrossFit Games are great. Everything's great. I would like to see O2 as, a pretty broadly, widely recognized, the hydration drink of choice, right, for CrossFitters everywhere. And I think we've got a very good start to that through the APN. I mean, I don't see what CrossFit does. I just know what CrossFit tells me, and they're like, you guys are killing it. Like, we're one of, if not the most popular brands on there.
So what's the
believe that.
benefit in the APN for purchasing O2?
You can get O2 incredibly cheap. The margins are fantastic. So instead of what's pretty standard in the industry, at least with drinks, is a 40% margin. We've always offered that. And if you subscribe, we have a, set it and forget it auto ship program. If you subscribe to O2, you get a 45% margin, at least historically. Now through the APN, you will get a 45% margin if you just buy it, ad hoc, and if you subscribe, you get a 55% margin.
Wow.
So it's killer margins.
So walk us through the numbers. Is that like $2 a can? You selling it for $3? What is that?
I think that comes down to around $1.30 per can. If you're on subscription, you're selling it for $3. It's a solid margin.
Yeah.
And our subscription program too, like I was telling somebody the other day, it's the antithesis of everything that I hate around like shystery subscription programs. Like it's super flexible. You can pause, skip, cancel with a text message.
Change
It's
the
easy.
number of
Change whatever you want. Like you're talking to a real person on the other end. It's so easy. Like there's no reason why somebody would not be on subscription.
It sounds like you maybe asked a gym owner, like, what would make you angry
What a
about
surprise,
this subscription
right?
model?
Let's not do
We'll just not do that.
Well, that's why, like, I've got a handful of 5 to 10, and you're one of them. Every time I got some crazy or not so crazy idea,
What do you think about this? I'm
yeah.
like, I think you're going to crush it.
All right, cool.
That sounds like an amazing idea for the right reasons, my friend. Keep going.
That'll work out for me. Thank you.
Imagine the thought of talking to your customer.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
So it's a really strong offer through the APN, and we did the math actually the other day. If a gym was on subscription with us, in order to pay for their full $3,000 a year affiliate fee, they would just need 18 members buying two cans a week. That's it.
Which is
18 members
extremely
buying 2
low.
cans.
Extremely low.
Yeah.
So that's achievable.
I think
right.
even if you're really bad at, which most of them are, you could probably get that.
And
And this is one of the things that we teach affiliates is just this does not have to be this bear that takes up a ton of time and energy.
Totally
it can
agree.
pay your affiliate fees.
Totally agree.
It can pay for equipment in the gym,
Totally.
and you don't have to be a salesman about it. Like just offer products that people like people that they identify with and that have good margins. It's margins are a thing. Like I know people don't like talk about money, but like I know you wanted to say something about that. But
you asked a second ago, like what would I do if I were opening and so building an audience, number one. Number two, fucking immediately introduce that audience to your retail operation. Immediately. Like and carry 2 or 3 drinks, 2 or 3 proteins, some shirts, maybe a couple that's it. You don't have to be
It's
a grocery
simple.
store.
It's about being simple, having products you believe in
Yes.
that have a good
Because
margin,
you're the filter.
and then placing them at the right place at the right time so
Totally.
people get it with context. Context is the whole secret trick, right? When would you give someone an O2 if it's
Right
about
after they work
a
out,
recovery
right?
or a hydration beverage? Well, when do you want that? At the end of a workout. So maybe at the end of their onboarding, you're like, hey, have you tried one of these before?
Exactly.
Have one of these.
Exactly.
Fucking done.
It's
Mic
so
drop.
easy,
and they're
right?
like, this is pretty damn good.
How do I buy this going forward? Well, this is how. Here's the note.
Marcus taught me that at least. When we started working with Marcus, it was like, all right, hey, you just finished your first workout. Here's an O2. We all try to drink these right after because you're going to notice you feel better. We sell them over there. By the way, use the WheelPay app. It's $3.
Buy 10, get one free.
Yeah,
and,
buy it.
and then all of a sudden they're like, okay.
It just becomes part of their. I go to the gym and I buy an O2.
Right? There's a gym in Kentucky that we started selling at, I think in the first year. And I remember this gym distinctly because it was one of the ones that I drove down to Louisville, Kentucky to sell into. She was just starting out. She had maybe 30 or so members in a pretty small space, like half the size of this. And she ordered 10 cases from me on the spot. I'm like, damn, all right, didn't see that coming. That's good. First order,
half her
cool.
footprint.
And then like 10 days later, I get a text message. Hey, can I get another 10 cases? I'm like, okay, you should you drinking all this yourself or what? Because I was
Giving
at
these
your
away?
gym. Yeah. And then 10 days after that, another 10 cases. And, after 3 or 4 weeks of this, I called her. I'm like, Amira, what are you doing to sell? Are you selling this? Or she's like, yeah, I just got everybody at my gym hooked. All I had to do was I gave them a free can. The rest took care of itself.
Yeah, so it's $1.30.
Imagine that.
The first can they buy covers the
Easy,
first
yes.
one you gave away.
Yeah, you can't get a higher ROI on an investment.
But again, going back to the margin thing, as soon as they purchase one, you're good.
You're good.
You're
Just
right
one.
back. You're right.
Just
That's
one.
assuming
You're
you gave
right
one
back
away.
where you
Right.
started. Yeah.
Which, if you
Totally.
don't have a crappy product,
Exactly.
then
easy to do.
You're probably going to sell
Yeah,
one.
that's right.
And you
That's
probably
Just on reciprocity alone.
That's right. That's right.
Let alone if it's great. They're like, this is delicious.
Yeah.
Well, like
So-
Kevin said in his interview, and then you probably have the coaches drinking it, if not for free, at cost.
Subsidized, yeah.
Because you
Cost.
want the leaders at your gym
Exactly.
seen drinking these
Exactly.
things. That's great.
Force them to drink one.
If I
It's
could,
empty.
you can
It's
get
empty
drunk.
because I
Yeah,
drank
you
it.
get drunk on it.
It's
Yep.
if there was only one thing I could do to as a retail marketing tactic at my gym, it would be that. What you just said. Give a free can to every new member. Because it
After a
introduces
workout.
them after a workout.
So we do an affiliate you. Marcus taught us
Brilliant.
that.
Well done, sir.
You know who you look like? Ed Norton.
I've gotten that.
Yeah, Fight Club.
Justin Timberlake. I didn't get that much.
That's because you don't really look like Justin Timberlake. But
I used to have
Ed
lighter
Norton.
hair.
I
so-
got you.
Frosted tips.
Talk
We
to
have
us about
frosted
this.
tips.
You're engaged. When's the wedding?
I am. Well, I proposed.
expect the
I
invitation.
proposed in October of 2019.
Ooh, it's a
And
long engagement going on.
our engagement party was scheduled for March 15th, 2020. You guys remember
Right
that?
on the pandemic, yeah.
That's when she
Perfect
canceled.
time.
Dan. Yep, canceled.
That was literally when they shut.
Canceled.
That was the weekend they shut it down.
That was the weekend. So we canceled that, and we've only recently reignited the wedding planning conversation.
I'm going to give you some advice with this company.
Make sure you write this down.
It's called 2 words, prenup.
I knew you were going to say that.
Prenup, because this is a good company. I own 3 shares, so I'm really
haven't bought 'em
concerned.
yet.
No, this is great. So when are you going to?
This summer. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
We're not sure exactly where, but yes, you guys can.
You were coming. I assume the
I'll be
invite's
there.
on the
You're
way.
actually
Yeah.
hosting the bachelor party.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I don't know if you
I'm
knew
down
that.
for that. We'll go for a bike ride.
He's not your guy for the.
Yeah,
bike
you
for
want
the
a bachelor party? Reach out to these guys.
Well, it's collective effort.
yeah, yeah.
Collective effort.
You need an officiant, though. You
I can
having a
also do
Jewish
that.
wedding?
Guy?
Are you doing a Jewish wedding?
I'm not Jewish, but I mean,
If you
I
want it,
You can
I
be.
don't mind it.
You can be.
Well, I'm gonna bring a light bulb. We're gonna smash that light bulb. We got yarmulkes. We're gonna do tinfoil yarmulkes.
Well, can we do aluminum instead since there's so much aluminum?
That
We can
works.
just
Yes,
recycle
we'll
it.
crush a can of O2 instead of the.
But will there be O2 at the wedding
Of
party?
course, come on.
I think
Don't everybody be hung as
this
the
one, this one would mix well. Like if I were in high school still with Absolute.
Ooh,
Like have a little
Pretty
vodka
sure this
in
would mix
there.
well with pretty much everything because this is delicious.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
really good.
But
Tequila
what do you
and
what do you
orange
find
mango
is like the people are mixing what like
A lot of
which
people do
flavor?
Tequila. Tequila and orange mango is good. Tosh likes blackberry and bourbon.
Well, he's
which
also
is-
a crazy person.
We're hanging out with Tosh. We're hanging out with Tosh on Wednesday.
get ready.
Don't follow Tosh's
yeah,
lead
maybe
on the
we'll
stuff like that. You find yourself in a dark place.
maybe we'll do some of that.
The lemon lime with tequila is like a great 2-ingredient margarita. That's
Ooh, okay.
delicious.
Let me pick your brain a little bit.
Hit me.
All right, so we got these ingredients here. Oxygenated water. That's just water and oxygen.
That's it.
So that's the water that goes in.
You're exactly
and you're
right.
shitting
It's
in.
really
I got that one.
He's the brains of the operation.
Talk me through.
Dr. Ackerman over here.
Talk me through erythritol.
So that's a sweetener that's a byproduct of fermentation. It's a natural sweetener. And the thing that's great about that is it provides this, it's one of a blend of sweeteners that we use, but it provides a sweet taste, but it's entirely passed through your body. So it doesn't contribute to a caloric count or a carb
Well, I was gonna
count.
say what's different about this than most like those like stevia flavor. I didn't have
Ours
an
actually tastes good.
aftertaste.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it
That's the
tasted
problem
great,
with
but there was
those
no
is it's gross.
aftertaste.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe they taste okay on the sip, and then you're like, what? Something's in there.
That's because we use stevia, but it's not just stevia. It's stevia, erythritol, monk fruit, and then 1 gram of organic sugar. And that blend is
that where the
really-
carbs come from on this?
Yeah, most of it.
So sodium citrate?
Salt.
Citrate.
Is it citrate?
Yep.
That's
sodium.
salt?
Sodium, basically.
Okay. organic sugar, like you just said. What's malic acid?
Malic acid is an acid for flavor, kind of gives it that little bit of tang.
How do you learn this stuff? Like,
4 years of trial and
You go to O2 school.
What'd you go to? You went to.
Remember we were talking about the
undergrad.
beakers?
Yeah, I went to undergrad and I majored in an entirely
Where'd you go,
unrelated
Ohio
field.
State?
Ohio State. Yeah.
What'd you major in?
Business.
Oh, so you. I mean, that's where you.
International
That's how you learn this
business
stuff.
and
It's
drinks,
funny because
totally.
I have a business minor, and people are always
Has it
like,
been helpful?
"Oh, that's been great for your business." I'm
Clearly
like,
not.
no, I
mine
did not.
neither.
But,
Yeah,
like,
same.
Yeah, I stopped paying attention to macroeconomics. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there's not a whole lot of
It's
ingredients.
10 ingredients.
On here. Yeah,
It's salts, it's flavors, it's sweeteners, and it's water, and that's it. But
all you need.
The potency there, I mean, it's really devoid of shit you don't need, and it just includes the stuff that we think you do.
Is that your phone number on the can? The 614
It used
number?
to go directly to my phone. It doesn't.
How'd that
anymore,
work
thank
out?
God. Well, initially it was fine because nobody was calling it.
Do people actually call this? Like, what do people call this number and say?
Totally. I mean, customer service.
Is that you picked up on Victoria? You're like, call me.
Call me. Here's my number.
How did you meet your soon-to-be wife?
That's a good story, man. I met her at a soccer game. I was super single at the time, and I was in Cincinnati. I was still living in Columbus, but I was in Cincinnati for this game, and it was supposed to be my little brother and I going to the game with one of his close friends that he grew up with. So he's like my little brother number 2, and my brother bailed at the last minute. I decided to go anyway, and so it was me and Ryan and Ryan's girlfriend, and so we walk into the game, and then I'd done a little pre-gaming, so I hit the restroom real quick, and then when I come back, there was like this harem of women surrounding Ryan and Darcy. I'm like, yes, cool, and so I went around and introduced us or whatever, and so I made with Vic. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I made some stupid joke around like, "Oh, sorry, my hand's wet. I peed on myself."
Oh, that's a good joke.
Right, thanks.
I like it.
There it is.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
And so we're walking into the game after we talked for a little bit. I'm like, "Well, how'd you meet Ryan?" He's like, "Well, I met him in a soccer game. He peed on his hand, and then the rest was history." I'm like, this one's got some spunk. She gets it. Yeah. And so we didn't sit next to each other, but we're kind of making cute faces over the course of however long. And then after the game, we all go to this bar, and Vic and I were talking. We were vibing. There's some good, some good chit chat happening. And this guy walks out of the bar, and he's like, this guy. He's just dressed in this ridiculously flamboyant shirt. He has, chest hair spilling out of this, gold necklaces.
That was
whatever.
me. That was me. Yeah, I was there.
It probably was you. and
was it a Jewish star chain I was wearing?
Yes, you got it. and so he's kind of like pointing around at different people. It's like total douchebag. And Vic very audibly says, "Oh my God, I hate that guy." And he's walking by and he stops and he turns around, dead in his tracks. He's like, very kindly, he's like, "I'm sorry, miss, did you just say that you hate me?" And she's like, "Well, I mean, you would hate you too. Like, look at what." And I'm like, "Oh my God, no."
And he proposed on the spot.
Yeah. Well, kind of. So I was like, "I'm sorry, sir. You have to pardon my wife. She's had a bunch of drinks." And so we start talking to this guy. He's actually a really nice guy. He lives in Columbus. He's a plastic surgeon. Go figure. And so we're talking to this guy, all the while having to keep up this ruse that we're married. And so we're kind of improving this backstory of how we met and what our relationship's like.
It's
and
working out.
How we
You're
keep
like,
it so fresh. They're like, at one point, his sister comes over and then his wife comes over. Is like, "You guys have like the perfect marriage. How do you do this after 6 years?" Like, "Well, I don't know. We just got lucky."
Yeah.
But we met like 30 minutes ago.
She understood the assignment. She understood the assignment.
And then did you go on a date or like you asked her out like, "Hey, we got to do this again"?
The rest, as they say, is history.
History.
Yeah.
Awesome. That would have been good, like this one.
Yeah,
Oh man,
I'm good. Can I
fix it in post.
Can I have control of this going forward, Marcus?
No, you cannot touch that ever again.
I gotta say, the coolest thing about CrossFit and the coolest thing about this podcast is meeting cool people.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, we've touched base a little bit virtually. Like I said, I've seen you out there. To be quite honest, I thought you were much older.
Oh well, thanks.
So it's because it's impressive what you've created. I was like, oh, this is some old guy that Fern knows. And then you could walk in here today. I'm like, oh, this is a young, hip guy.
I know I look older than I am. But
No, you got a little gray
process
going on.
ages you.
Yeah, CrossFit will make you look a little younger. You know, and
I've been doing this for 10 years. It seems to have the opposite.
give it
effect,
15
actually.
like me, and all of a sudden you look great. But this has been really cool, and getting to know your company and just awesome. And I'm glad you're local because we're definitely going to
Let's
hit the
hang.
Marshall Mesa
For
Trail.
sure. Absolutely.
I'm very slow, but I will make it on the bike.
Me both.
Short
I'm
legs.
still adjusting to the altitude.
Oh, the altitude's a bitch. And I fall on the bike at least every time I'm out there.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna be great
Send us
friends.
pictures, please.
Oh, no, I'm just
100% of the
like
time.
always taking a spill at the Marshall Mesa Trail.
But it's
great.
I always appreciate like good people in the community, like Jay said, and as an affiliate owner, obviously you guys have been at the forefront of most of the crap that's been going on. So helping everybody out and having good ideas and really pushing the envelope. So thank you for that. I'm really looking forward. We're going to buy those that quarter share.
Oh yeah,
and
We're going to buy 3/4 of a quarter. Whenever that comes out to, put it on Fern's stand.
And I just can't wait to see what you guys do in the future, man.
Appreciate it.
Let's do a little cheers.
Yeah.
A little wrap-up cheers for you, Nate.
Yeah.
Boom.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.